privilege to speak to you all about a topic which is dear to us all, especially as we're talking about innovation being limitless and around startups and what we're building, especially from a technology point of view. And there's something very important that could be a showstopper towards that. And that's the lack of digital trust. And it's the biggest thing that can cause any nation or ecosystem loss going into the future, especially as that future is being underpinned by technology. And why is this important? Because startups and all technology based services are what we will do going into the future. And if you don't have digital trust, we all know what that means in terms of customers, in terms of ethics, in terms of ability to retain the customer trust for business. And not working. And why is it important, especially for a nation or an ecosystem? As we know, Nigeria is rapidly moving towards a digital ecosystem, which is why startups are important, which is why innovation is important. But according to these statistics, as of 2022, 15% of Nigeria's GDP is from contribution from the digital sector. As at last year, it has increased to 16.6% or thereabout. And that is very important for us. And one of the things that we must now look out for is all the threats that could become a problem to our companies, our startups, as investors, startups we've invested in, the ability to make returns, which is very important to investors, as startups to be able to get customers, run their businesses, make money doing it. And in the last few years, 2 to 3 years precisely, there's been a whole lot of threats. There's been the threat of ransomware, which was published a few days ago as one of the biggest threats to the Nigerian digital economy and startup ecosystem. Last year, it was DDoS, denial of service. And that means even if you've launched your tech-based service online, then you are not likely to be able to serve the customer or the stakeholders in the ecosystem to which the services are being provided for. There's also privacy breaches around loan sharks, but this is not common to loan sharks. Any startup tech company that collects or processes customer data can fall prey to this by not getting their consent or processing their data in illegal means, and that is a fine line which the Privacy Commission regulates, and they go after a lot of people. There's also the issue recently around NIMC and unauthorized access to data, which is the NIN, the NIN data. One of the things Nigeria is also known for, or used to be known for historically, was what we now like to call Yahoo Yahoo 419 business email compromise. And that is one of the big problems that people have to face, especially startups as they build, because there's that perception that the Nigerian tech system has these people among them. And lastly, the buzzword of today, AI. Everybody is talking about Gen AI. We need to use AI to improve productivity. But within our companies, our startups, our organizations, we also need to be wary what data we are feeding into these AI systems, because we are inadvertently exposing our IP, our customer data, to another third party who is not resident in this country. And we all know that we've been talking about data residency and privacy for a while now. Now, what are the consequences of digital trust? I've talked about a few of them. There's the reputational decline. There are cybersecurity threats. But most importantly for startups, revenue is very important and ability to keep the customer. And if you lose this trust, then it's something very, very important than what you need to mitigate. Now, there was a survey in 2022 by DigitSet, and it said 84% of companies who lose customers' digital trust actually are going to lose a significant amount of revenue. So it's something that needs to be looked at. However, there are also benefits. It's not just about consequences. If you focus on improving digital trust, then you will also have an improvement in customer trust, in improvement in revenue as well. And revenue is the lifeblood of our companies, and that will also improve our economy and system and ecosystem as a whole. Now, we talk about digital trust, we've talked about the consequences, the benefits, and what it is. But we also have to know that this has to be earned. Because I have a system and I put services online doesn't automatically mean that you have the customer's trust. So you need to earn it. And by earning it, you need to ensure you balance the risks and the opportunities. There will always be opportunities. And where there's an opportunity, there's also a risk. And we need to focus on having that mitigated. And it's a fine balance every startup, tech-based or tech-enabled system has to look into. So, and lastly, what I wanted to talk about is the fact that digital trust means a few things. And it means that organizations, startups have to align what digital trust means to the customers. And the World Economic Forum had come up with a framework, which is what is in the middle here, around what digital trust is. It's about ensuring security and reliability of services provided online. It's about ensuring accountability and oversight. So what frameworks, what standards, what due diligence do you do as you provide services online? And it's about responsible and ethical use of the data that you receive from customers, from your clients, especially as you are providing services to them to ensure that they can transact or they can have an easier means of doing something. So it's very important that as startups, tech-enabled services need to focus on digital trust. And lastly, if I also may say, it is one of the things that we at Cybervergent focus on as our mission to enable businesses, startups, tech-enabled systems ensure digital trust simply through cybersecurity and privacy. Thank you very much and have a good evening.